Hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, namaste. I'm Ritesh. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to learn and will try to understand SIP call flow when we have CUCM and cube involved. A CUCM and cube between two SIP endpoints. So the basic call flow that we saw in the beginning of SIP classes is just for the understanding purpose, but when you are troubleshooting a SIP call flow during in a production environment, so you will have proxy servers back-to-back user agents between two SIP endpoints always. So this would be a real scenario where you will have a call manager, maybe a cube, some other proxy servers in between two SIP endpoints. So let's see how a call flow works, or what is the call flow when we have a call manager and a cube between two SIP endpoints. So our call flow would be we have an IP phone registered to call manager. It's a SIP IP phone. Then we have a SIP trunk between the call manager and a Cisco Unified Border Element, and again a SIP trunk between the cube and the provider. It's an ITSP, Internet Telephony Service Provider. So we have SIP protocol running between each endpoints, each of the products. So let's see what happens when this IP phone initiates a call or tries to call endpoint a IP phone or a cell phone which is at the provider end. So let's see. Now I have drawn the same call flow here on the screen. If you see, we have IP phone, a call manager, which is a back-to-back user agent, a cube, which is again a back-to-back user agent, and a provider. So just to refresh and summarize, what is a back-to-back user agent? A back-to-back user agent is a product or a server which can act as a user agent client and user agent server both at the same time. A back-to-back user agent can accept a request coming from a user agent client and forward it to the user agent server, the same invite, but after reformulating it changes the contact details from address to header, all those, and then sends it to the user agent server. So this is what a back-to-back user agent is. So suppose this IP phone is trying to make a call to a phone which is at the provider end. So what happens, since it's always SIP, it sends a invite to the call manager first. The same invite would be forwarded to the cube. Obviously, the call manager will reformulate it with the contact headers, to and from headers of its own, and then sends it to the cube. And the same thing will be done by the cube. It will receive the invite from call manager and forward it to the provider after reformulating it. Now till we are receiving for an ringing response of 180 ringing. In the meanwhile, the call manager can send 100 trying to the IP phone. Same can be done here. The cube will send 100 trying to the call manager. See, 100 trying might not be in sequence like invite, where uh, first IP phone will send a invite to call manager, then call manager to cube, and cube to the provider. And the trying can be sent before the provider sends it to the cube. It can be sent by the call manager to the provider. So That's not a problem. But for 180 ringing, it should be in sequence. As soon as the the called phone starts to ring, the provider will send a 180 ringing to the cube. Same will be forwarded to the call manager. So same will be forwarded to the call manager. 180 ringing, and the call manager will send this to the IP phone informing that the called party has started to ring, where the calling party, this IP phone, will hear a ringback tone. As soon as the called party accepts the call, the provider will send a 200 OK that the called party has accepted the call or went off hook. Same will be forwarded to the call manager by the cube, and then call manager will send this 200 OK response to the IP phone informing that the called party has accepted your call and now ready to talk. After this, the IP phone will send the acknowledgement, as we have seen in the basic call flow. After 200 OK is received by the calling party, the calling party will now send the acknowledgement to the called party ACK, and a final ACK from cube to the provider, again where provider will send that ACK to the called party, where I have not drawn it because that's the provider part. So after this, the media will be established. So remember guys, the RTP here will be between the IP phone and the LAN interface of cube. This is the one RTP stream. Other would be between the WAN interface of the cube to the provider. Now why this is so? Because cube handles the media in two different ways. It's media flow through and media flow around. I will try to explain this in the next video. So media flow through is the by default behavior of a cube. Media flow around is not enabled by default. It can be enabled if it's a requirement. So media flow around can be enabled, but by default behavior of a cube is media flow through. So that means cube terminates the RTP, media flow through. In media flow through, cube terminates the media coming from IP phone to the LAN interface, and then another media will be between the WAN interface of the cube, which is this is the WAN facing interface, and this is the LAN facing interface of the cube. So the next RTP would be between the WAN facing interface of the cube towards the provider. So this is the media, this is the call flow. Now for the call disconnect, if the IP phone initiates this disconnect, it will send a bye to the call manager. The same will be forwarded to the cube and to the provider, and then we will have 200 OK coming from provider to cube, cube to call manager, and then call manager to the IP phone. So this is the complete call flow when you have call manager and cube involved in between, which are connected to each other using SIP. You have a SIP endpoint going to the provider all the way, everything is SIP. So this is the complete call flow guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Till then, everyone, be safe and take care. Bye bye.